I just want to say, wow, it works. What that guy was talking about when I just relaxed and just let go of it, here I am.
You put yourself in the receptive mode.
Mm-hmm.
How? Let go of what? Let go of the desire? No. Let go of the worry. Mm-hmm. Let go of trying to make it happen. Mm-hmm. Let go of efforting. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, the receptivity is part of my question, is that wanting to be there, and now having this new terminology of receptivity really helps. And so my question is,
we thought that receptivity is a really good word when you understand that there's a vibrational reality that you are wanting to realize. So you are the translator of the vibration into the reality. And once you get that your job is that translation. Esther became receptive to us because she meditated for 9 months, quieted her mind, got rid of all resistance, allowed her vibration to raise, and then there we were. It's the same about everything. Receptivity. Be receptive to abundance. When you're receptive to abundance, the idea of abundance sounds good to you, not scary. It sounds simple and like flow, not hard. In other words, just practice yourself into feeling the receptivity of what you want. But you got to feel it before you can receive it. You got to get there before you can translate. We like this conversation. It's the peace that many of you have been looking for. It's a practical, applicable peace.
So my question is, when thought comes in,
when I receive
a
thought, when I am receptive to a thought,
does inspiration always come from source? Is it always in the positive aspect?
Well, when it comes, you can tell by the way it feels, whether it's from source, because you can be receptive. Law of attraction makes you receptive to anything on that vibe. So you can get worried about something and people start calling you about it.
Well, that's what I was wondering. The second, if I'm in this vibration and wanting to be open and receptive so that I receive the inspiration, if a thought comes in that makes me feel knotted up right away, within 17 seconds, if I take my attention off of it.
That's why we use the words, prepare your receptivity. Decide what you want to be receptive of, which means care about feeling good, which makes you receptive to thoughts and allows the momentum to increase about that.
Gotcha.
We've teased you. We say, you can feel whether it's coming from source or whether it's your mother.
Yeah, I guess I really just, in my mind, it feels helpful to know that I can, in a sense, not trust that negative one, because I know source is not thinking the same thing. So if I just can go, you know what, within that 17 seconds, wipe it out, and I won't then start creating a momentum in that direction.
Someone asked us the best question ever, because it gave us an opportunity to give our best answer ever. This person said, how do you get rid of fear? Or how do you get rid of doubt was her word. How do you get rid of doubt? And we said, horrible answer. We said, you get rid of it before it starts, which is just totally annoying. Because if I've got it, how do I get rid of it? Well, you get rid of it before you got it. But there's such power in that answer, because once you have enough momentum going, because you've been receptive enough that you are translating something into thoughts that feel uncomfortable, there's usually enough momentum going that unless you catch it really early, trying to not think it is just going to cause you to think it all the more. Absolutely. There's a war against poverty, a war against drugs, and a war against crime, and a war against terrorism. And all of those wars are getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, because that's the way law of attraction works. And so it's a better approach to acknowledge that when you sleep at night, momentum stops, and when you wake up in the morning, you can begin it where you want to, and that it's logical that you would begin it in this naturally high, pure, positive vibration. So if we were standing in your physical shoes, we wouldn't work too hard at trying to stop ourselves from, I wasn't going to think about that. What? That thing that I keep thinking about. I'm not going to think about that anymore. What? That thing that I'm not going to think about anymore. Well, what thing? Well, I wasn't going to talk to you about it, but that thing that I keep thinking about. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about it. It's that. It's that thing. It's that thing. So you just don't want to think about that thing that you're thinking about. I'm not going to think about that thing that I'm thinking about, but that thing that you're thinking about that you don't want to think about just becomes an obsession after a little while, because law of attraction is a very responsive to vibration mechanism. And so rather than trying not to think about it, which for sure is going to cause you to think about it, you want to start your day with plenty of things that you are thinking about that feel good. you can become someone who just generally finds those good feeling things, but it takes a little practice. And the most important thing is, don't tense up about what you are thinking about. Look for the value in whatever thoughts are coming. Say to yourself things like, well, this must be my point of attraction, and I'm not sure right now whether it's a bad thing or a good thing that I'm receiving about this, but it's no big deal because I've got control over the thoughts that I think, and law of attraction is my friend, and I've got this guidance system, and it's no big deal. And just don't become fitful or too thoughtful about what you're thinking. In the early days, we called this gathering the science of deliberate creation. The science, because it's continuing to evolve, of deliberate, because you're doing it on purpose, creation, because you are the creator of your own reality and you can't stop no matter what. You just can't stop creating your own reality. But there was something about the science of deliberate creation. We said, you get what you think about whether you want it or not. And people loved that idea and then hated that idea. They got freaky about it. They would say things like, cancel, cancel, cancel. Cancel, cancel, try to suck the thought back before law of attraction gets hold of it. And that was when we began talking about the art of allowing, which is the art of receptivity. The art of allowing what? The art of allowing your alignment with who you really are. The art of allowing your connection to who you really are. The art of allowing yourself to be the receiver of the ideas and inspiration and progress and momentum. The art of allowing yourself to see your path. The art of allowing the joy and the fun and the clarity and the worthiness that is really who you are. The art of allowing you to be here in this moment. Most of you are not just you, most humans are not allowing the fullness of who they are. Your animals, those furry little beasts, they are, for the most part. Look at them. They're full of themselves. They're not trying to get your approval, and if they are, that's a really sad thing. They're not trying to get your approval. For the most part, they are extensions of source, and you call them instinctual. You say, oh, they have instinct. We say they have receptivity. That's not instinct. That's not some memory bank that they're tapping into. That's not built into their DNA. That didn't come with their genes. They came with big-time hiccups. In other words, they don't think like humans. Good for them. They don't micromanage, and they don't overthink things, and they don't struggle with things. They just be. They just be. They just be in the most receptive mode that they can be in most of the time. You have the privilege of being around some of them, especially those in the wild. Those are the best. They're not trying to get your approval. Esther went up to the top of the treehouse, face to face with a fox. She said, hey. Fox said, hey. Esther said, what are you doing up here? The fox said, what are you doing up here? Esther said, I'm going to leave you to your tree house. The fox said, that's just the way I thought it would come down.
So I struggle with asking this because, well, I know you'll give me an answer anyway, but...
So you struggled?
Because I kind of know the answer, but...
When you struggle... Well, we've become the gurus of nitpicking, haven't we?
Yeah.
Do you really want to begin a conversation with the word struggle?
No.
Does the word struggle represent how you feel in this question?
No, I would like to know the answer.
But wait, walk through this with us. In other words, how do you get rid of doubt? You get rid of it before you've got it. So how do you get rid of struggle? In other words, don't ask the answer to this question to eliminate the struggle. Eliminate the struggle, and then you will be receptive to this answer.
Okay.
Can you hear the difference?
Yeah. So instead, it's a curiosity. I'm curious if...
I don't really want to know. I'm not struggling as much as I was a minute ago because I really don't care. I really don't care about the answer to this question.
Wasn't convincing, was it? So, if you can be, do, or have anything...
Since you can be, or do, or have anything...
staying high all the time, is that also a feasible request?
Since everything is relational, the answer to that is yes. In other words, you can improve your vibrational countenance so much that law of attraction will support you where you are. But it takes a little while for you to sort of work the bugs out of this and that and this and that and this and that and this and that. What it really comes down to is just finally caring enough about how you feel that your opinions about things are not so important. You've done such a comparative thing between yourself and others that almost all humans care more about being right than they do about being happy. Mm-hmm. And that's a problem for you. The other day, Esther was at her new house in Utah, and her sister was there, her little big sister, her big little sister. She's got a big little sister and a little big sister. It was her little big sister. Aren't you glad you came? And a bouquet of flowers had been delivered, and Esther was trying to move them to another place, and they were very heavy. It was a very large bouquet, and it was very heavy. And Esther said, part of it is this glass vase, as she set it down on the table, clunk. And her sister said, it's not glass, it's plastic. And Esther said, no, that's glass. And her sister said, no, it's plastic. And Esther clinked her ring on it. Glass. No, that's plastic. Are you kidding me? Esther clinked her ring on it again. That's clearly a glass vase. No, it's plastic. Esther went into the other room looking for something plastic, brought the plastic and gave a comparison. Plastic, glass, plastic, glass. Her sister is still insisting that it's plastic. It took everything Esther had not to just go, glass. Why did it matter? And the reason that it matters to you is because you've been living life. You've been collecting data. You've been coming to conclusions. And law of attraction has been making reality out of what you believe. So you've come to believe that you are right. And there's this comparison about what the others are thinking and what the others are doing that serves you in the sense that it gives you the contrast and causes you to identify what you want. But if you could make this one decision today, I no longer care about being right, but I really, really care about feeling good. I care about feeling good. And then you just begin sort of sifting through things one thing at a time, one experience at a time. As you have negative emotion, and then you soften your thought until the negative emotion subsides. You make every situation unconditional because alignment trumps everything. So you no longer care about being right because really, you're not being measured against all of the other righters and wrongers in the world, and then you're being rewarded based upon your degree of rightness. Ooh, where do you get this stuff? You are pure positive energy, focused here and now, allowing a little bit or a lot of all that you are to explore and receive the perfection of this moment, you see. So what were you talking about?
I think I got that now, for sure. In relation to that is a wonderful thing that I've been able to learn more and more through your teachings, letting go of trying to be right. But in one instance where it feels good to be right is when I'm in alignment. My decisions, for me, only me personally, they feel so right, and it's so clear.
Because what the true definition of rightness is clarity. Yeah. And what the true definition of clarity is alignment. And what the true definition of alignment is in sync with broader perspective, who knows the big picture, who knows the whole of everything. Yeah. When you've got that kind of clarity going on, doesn't that feel wonderful? Absolutely. Ambivalence is so annoying. Clarity feels so good.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it.